Recently, British Gymnastics has been getting ready for the impact to come from a most likely shocking 300-page report regarding its abuse scandal. The document is expected to strongly criticize the governing body's previous leadership when it is published. British Gymnastics in general has been rife with problems like this, so today we'll delve deeper into the whole situation and other related news. First up, Anne Whyte's QC's review. Anne Whyte, a British barrister, is currently working on an independent review which is said to be published 9 months later than originally planned. This review, by those who have seen it, is a wide-ranging investigation into allegations of mistreatment of gymnasts at all levels of the sport. In her interim report last year, Whyte said that she had received submissions from nearly 400 people, with 39 of the cases being so serious that they were then passed on to local authorities because of child safeguarding reasons or concerns of ongoing criminal conduct. Whyte also wrote that the British Gymnastics received 300 complaints a year on average between 2015 and 2020, and that she received information concerning more than 100 coaches and 90 clubs. These numbers aren't looking good for the organization. The full Whyte review makes a large number of recommendations to change the culture in the sport, but it's said to agree with the idea that British Gymnastics has already undergone significant reforms since the original report was released in 2020, and acknowledged that a new leadership team is already making somewhat of a change. Now the interim report. Back in 2020, reviews into abuse in British Gymnastics were also underway. Investigators had received submissions from a large number of people, which included many extreme cases as well. Anne Whyte's QC's report from 2 years ago exposed the repetitive and shocking issue within British Gymnastics. As we mentioned earlier, British Gymnastics received 300 complaints a year on average between 2015 and 2020. However, Whyte said British Gymnastics has managed to pass on details of about 1,000 complaints out of the 3,500 it had investigated and dealt with since 2008. Whyte said, whilst many issues raised are at the elite level of the sport, this is not exclusively the case, wrote Whyte, who said that she had received information concerning more than 100 coaches and 90 clubs. The full review, which was set up by UK Sport and Sport England in July of 2020 after allegations of abuse at all levels of the sport, was completed around the same time as the 2021 Tokyo Olympics. Now, reoccurring issues. Some of the reoccurring problems emerging from the information released are bullying, belittling, extreme weight management, regular overstretching, use of excessive physical force, training on serious injuries, and lack of opportunity to raise complaints. One of the common themes running throughout this report, however, was a sense that the governing body in British Gymnastics not only had failed to prevent or curb such behaviors, but had also condoned them in the pursuit of national and international success and a better image. Sadly, such a motive isn't just present within gymnastics. Next, trying to make a change. This year, British Gymnastics pointed to the significant changes that it has implemented, including a new chief executive, a better complaint handling system, and a larger integrity team. Publication of Whyte's review came just days after it emerged that a former national acrobatic gymnast had become the first to win a civil case against British Gymnastics for the abuse that she endured while practicing for the sport. The governing body admitted full liability and reached a settlement with the gymnast Eloise Jatishki, who claimed that between 2016 and 2018, she was left physically exhausted after being made to use extreme weight management techniques at her local club. The 19-year-old is one of more than 40 gymnasts to make such claims against British Gymnastics, saying that they were victims of systemic physical and psychological abuse. Now the statement. A joint UK Sport and Sport England statement said that the full review would be published soon. The statement said that they recognized the courage shown by everyone, including the gymnasts' parents and coaches who let their experiences be known, and thanked them for their contributions. They also expressed their thanks to Anne Whyte QC and her team for the work in preparing the review. Next, survivors come forth. A survivor of abuse within British Gymnastics, Nicole Pavier, says that she still has nightmares about what happened to her as a child and even now feels physically sick when she smells the perfume worn by her coaches. The former England gymnast gave a testimony for the Whyte review into the mistreatment of athletes within the sport, which was published on Thursday. The review received over 400 submissions and detailed systemic physical and psychological abuse, which it said centered around British Gymnastics prioritizing of cash and success over athlete welfare. For another survivor, Claire Hefford, the abuse she says she suffered as a young gymnast has left a lasting mark on her life. Hefford, who's now in her 40s, told CNN Sport that she experienced symptoms of post-traumatic stress disorder after competing in British Gymnastics in the 1990s, when she alleges that she was physically and emotionally abused. Now she says that she finally feels vindicated after years of fighting for reform in the sport through the organization that she co-founded, Gymnasts for Change. Now the future of the sport. So, how exactly can British Gymnastics ensure that they're protecting the next generation of gymnasts? Well, reforms within the sport are long overdue. Claire Hefford has also told CNN that whenever they would try to raise the alarm as children, they were shut down. It made them think that if they did speak out, that they weren't going to be believed. She continued and said that from that point on, she never watched gymnastics. gymnastics. Rather, she went into athletics, which she said was an area that she had much better experiences in. It was only when she stopped competing that she started to get PTSD symptoms showing up from her time in gymnastics. After distancing herself from the sport for years, Heifer today coaches adults in gymnastics, runs body-positive gymnastics classes, and campaigns for change in the sport. Other gymnasts have been vocal in their support of Whyte QC's report's release. Two-time Olympian Becky Downey, who had competed for Great Britain in the 2008 and 2016 Olympic Games, said that the report felt like a vindication for herself and so many who have known for so long of the serious cultural problems within the sport. She also said that this was a sport that she loved more than anything, and so reforms were crucial to make it better and safer. We hope these survivors get to see real change in the coming years. Now, in other related news. Still no charges for FBI agents in botched Larry Nassar investigation. Last fall, the United States government said that it would take another look at the earlier decisions to forego charges against the FBI agents involved. At the time, Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco had told Congress that she asked the head of the department's criminal division to take another look at the whole case. As of May 2022, there have still been no charges made for any agents who were involved in the Nassar investigation. The U.S. Justice Department has come out and said that they won't be pursuing any criminal charges against former FBI agents, even though they'd been made aware of complaints ever since 2015. The department said that this verdict doesn't reflect the view that the investigation of Nassar was handled as it should have been, nor in any way reflects approval or agreement of the steps taken by the former FBI agents. Next, survivors testifying against Larry Nassar. Of the hundreds of women who testified against Larry Nassar, Ali Raceman's testimony quickly became one of the most prominent. The Olympic gymnast confronted Larry Nassar, who she says sexually abused her for years, with an intense statement in court during the sentencing back in 2018. The six-time Olympic medalist was able to come face-to-face with Nassar and was one of several women who made victim statements during his days-long sentencing hearing. Nassar had pleaded guilty to 7 counts of criminal sexual conduct with underage girls. In December of 2021, it was said that the women would be receiving $380 million in settlements over the mishandled case. The settlement was among the largest ever for a sexual abuse case and was also a part of an agreement saying that the USA Gymnastics and the Olympic Committee will give board seats to survivors. The plaintiffs are now seeking different amounts in damages, but it's estimated that their total claims are expected to exceed $1 billion. The FBI hasn't yet given any comments on the financial compensation requests made by the women. Lastly, Maha Sanyukta focuses her goals on Paris Olympics. After getting a total of 5 gold in rhythmic gymnastics in Kilo India's Youth Games, Maha Sanyukta aims for getting in at the 2024 Paris Olympics. The gymnast has stated that ever since she was young, she always wanted to have a part in sports, but was unsure which sport she wanted to focus on. The 16-year-old had previously tried her hand at several other sports, including the likes of tennis, football, and cricket. Later on, she discovered her true calling, rhythmic gymnastics. The young gymnast managed to score gold at the Kilo India Games this week, and her mother was incredibly overjoyed with the result. She said that she was expecting her daughter to do well, but the game went beyond her expectation. For Sanyukta, though, this is only the beginning. Her next step is to reach the Indian national gymnastics team and later on be able to land a spot at the upcoming 2024 Paris Olympics. And that's a wrap for this video. We'll see you in the next one.